massa come, and it's freezing cold. But the first thing he gonna do, make fire, and what the slaves gonna do?
Rock?
The construction of winter quarters is imperative to our survival.
I'll come back for you.
Eat your breakfast, pack your things, say your goodbyes.
I promise.
It's gonna be hard enough getting there. What sense that make? Coming all the way back. So don't come back. Just survive. Ain't gonna be nothing here for you. Promise me. Run.
Green, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here.
We all made sacrifices.
Only way we make it is together.
Title, I was somewhat expecting a superhero blockbuster, but as I continued to watch, something so much better unlocked for me. The storytelling here was remarkable, starting with the prologue and tape recording, which set the right mood from the start. I couldn't believe how hooked I was within the first 5 minutes, and how Willie was just snatched up like that. I think this film did an excellent job of modeling the lives lived by Black slaves in the 1800s. This film had everything: adventure, conflict, war, romance, with an underlying theme of drive and determination. I definitely didn't know the story of Green Flake before, and I honestly didn't know how much I needed this story until I watched it. Overall, what a way to pay respect to this strong, ingenious Black pioneer. And visually, I have to say that this film was stunning from start to finish. The wardrobe really ensured I was immersed in the mid-1800s. And I liked how the filmmakers captured a lot of angles that appeared far away enough to see the whole picture, but close enough to the character to feel like I was walking just behind them, or like I was there to observe, like, within the picture. What killed me was how the filmmakers captured the importance of the buttons around his neck. And later, when Martha added another button to his necklace, I just crumpled down. Was very moving, highly emotional, highly intelligent, and I just kept thinking to myself, I hope this is a true story, because this is one for the books.
Very powerful feature-length film. The movie starts with the voiceover of a recording of an actual, freed, enslaved person. And that immediately grabbed my attention. I wanted to know so much more about this person's life. I think slavery is a very important topic that still needs to be talked about. And I think this film did a great job capturing, a lot about what happened during that time. It's very heartbreaking seeing what they had to go through, very sad, watching all of the trials and tribulations that they were forced to deal with at the time. But it's also admirable seeing them find their own, sort of happiness. When we saw them dancing and we saw like romances blooming, all of that brings a sense of humanity to what they had to deal with. And obviously, the film also talked about their hardships. I also think that the voiceover was very powerful and engaging, and it would bring us back into the story and remind us that this is more of a point of view story than just like a story just showing about a bunch of different enslaved people. So I really like that we were constantly reminded by hearing the voiceover. But overall, I think that the film was very strong and powerful, and I really enjoyed watching it, and I hope that others also get to watch it as well.
An incredible quest movie which spans the lifetime of a person, a Black person from the States. And he starts as a young slave and then moves to a strong teen and then an old man telling his tale as he fights for freedom for the Black people as a Mormon. And he meets many famous people like Joseph Smith and Brigham Young in his journeys. The voiceover that he does is incredible. He has such a resonant sound, a beautiful, soulful voice as he tells the story throughout. The sound design as well is absolutely memorable. Such things as the whizzing arrows, the crackling fire, the spirituals, the axes cutting the wood, the breaking ice. It's an incredible sound design, very memorable and well done. The visuals themselves are quite striking. The tundra, the forests, the drone shots above of their journey, the violence, and also the blinding light flashbacks he has of his mother when he was a child, and also envisioning his lady love on his journey. The makeup and wardrobe is also quite incredible. The makeup with the snow on the caked, bloody face of the journeyman, the gashes, the haggardness as they go on their quest. Also, the wardrobe is incredible. The roughness of the slave ripped jerseys and rickety boots and shoes versus the very elegant outfits of the Mormon bishops. It is absolutely an incredible film, very timely about the rights of the Blacks in the States and the very moving portrayal of all the characters. The performances are wonderful, and I just can't say enough about this film. It's a sentimental journey, and I learned a lot about that period, and it was very, very, very well done.
A very impressive movie because it is able to examine a critical moment in Black history through very specific lens, and yet feel so much wider in scope at the end of it. It really has a grand design to it while also being incredibly intimate in Green's, most notably in Green's relationship with his wife, with his, kind of star-crossed lover. Their story is quite touching and brings a certain degree of hope, really, into what can often be quite a depressing and difficult part of history to examine, but one that we must examine. Despite that difficulty, we absolutely must examine and continue to, not only to critique and learn so that we don't make mistakes like that or resembling that in the present, but also so that we celebrate the people who have gotten us this far, the people who helped lay the foundations for real progressive change to occur, both in the United States and around the world. This is really a celebration, this film, very much so. A celebration of a man, of a movement, of a time when people were able to come together with a common understanding that some people, of course, not all people, but enough people were able to come together with a common understanding that we should be all equal and seen as such in every facet of life. It has an interesting look at the Mormon population, which is not always examined in regards to how they looked at civil rights and handled civil rights and the abolition movement. So it's great that we get exposed to their story as well. The acting is very, very good, especially by the lead actor, as well as by the actress who played his wife. I thought she was quite notable in her performance. And the set design is, again, considering the what was likely available with the limited resources is very, very good, effective, believable, and really helps ground you in this time and place. And that's what matters most with set design as well as with acting, that can we be fully immersed into the story? And this film most certainly achieves that without having to have this big Hollywood budget and all that. So it is really an enjoyable film, informative, entertaining, and endearing after the fact. It really stays with you as you remember this time in history and think about all the stories that still have to be told, that deserve to be told, like Green's.
It's the story of Green Flake, who was one of the first African-American founding members of the Church of Latter-day Saints. It was said that of the first African-American converts to the Church of Latter-day Saints, quote, that they were strengthened by such completely spiritual experiences that they overlooked prejudice and discrimination. And that is certainly true in Yahush Bonner's performance of Green Flake. He doesn't portray any particular animosity or hatred against his former slavers or the Flake family who ended up freeing him and working with him. And the film takes the legacy route that he ended up working with Joseph Smith as his sort of personal bodyguard. And while that makes a very exciting story, it also takes some abrupt turns in as to the fate of Joseph Smith, and it becomes a very abrupt turn in the movie, and then it becomes Brigham Young's. He becomes a member of Brigham Young's flock, and from then the story becomes more about how Green Flake wants to help be one of the first members to establish the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Church of Latter-day Saints, and the wicked cold conditions of the winter quarters. Very expensive looking and very well done production value. Spectacularly shot by Sohrab Mirmont, and very wonderfully written and directed by Mauli B.
There's a lot I really like about this one. Right off the jump, it's got a really strong open with lots of action that I thought was setting the tone for a certain type of film. And at times, Green Flake was that kind of film, and at other times it seemed to just shift tone abruptly to another kind of film. The elements seem kind of pieced together that way. I wouldn't be surprised if there were more than one editor on this project, but that being said, it was paced really well. There was some really interesting scenes. They get through a lot of exposition with voiceover, and it's done tastefully and I think adequately. There's a tendency to overdo it there, and while there was a lot in this one, I don't feel like it was overdone. There was some really good scoring at times. There was a scene between, I think, Joseph and Green Flake that was really intense, and the scoring just really helped underline that in that scene. I think as far as performances, the scene with Joseph and his wife, where she begs him to return, sort of thing, that was just very powerful scene, really well portrayed. It made me wanting more, and when we get to the end, you got to find out that maybe there's more to the story. So I mean, that's great.
A strong story and such a powerful message, and glad they took the time and care to tell it. Thought the camera work was beautiful. The set design was fantastic and realistic for the time period. The exteriors were perfect. I thought the use of props were spot on and added value to the film. The wardrobe did a terrific job with capturing the time, as well as hair and makeup did fantastic between the beards and the scarring. Thought that was all really quite well done. I really enjoyed Martha and Green's performances. Thought they had such nuance and inner strength and really brought that through the lens. Particularly like how they developed the relationship between the two characters, and just thought it was a really nice film.
I thought this feature film was amazing. I really like how they used the shots of nature with the drones, and also the particular facing the characters. I really liked how they depicted this braveness of everyone involved, and also how they showed us their true nature. I really commend film creators for giving us this understanding of how they felt with the angst, frustration, fear, and oppression. These particular people always have experienced throughout time. It was particularly emotional to see or learn about this character, the lead character. His how he kept going with the whole idea or hope to see or reunite with his mom at some point, that it was a promise someone made a long time ago, and he kept going on basis of that, and it was actually, I think, kept him alive all this time. And I also liked how different, very strong characters, both male and female, are depicted, and I really liked it. It was a great production. It was a great feature film.